Space, the final frontier. Join us for a bold conversation. Our prime directive, to recap our favorite Star Trek shows, both new and old. To engage in debate about all things Trek. Prepare to energize with phasers set to stun.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Phaser Set to Stun, where we continue to show our love for everything Star Trek in this ongoing series from the Film By podcast, which focuses on every quadrant of the ever-expanding universe of Trek by covering television, animation, movies, directors, and more. Plotting the course as always is your core Trek crew. I'm Scott Hoffman.
I'm David Burns.
And I'm Wayne Whited.
All right, and thanks for joining me again, guys. We're continuing our coverage of the newest voyages in this franchise with Star Trek Discovery, Season 5, the final season.
Yep.
Today we're covering Episode 4, Face the Strange. Before we get too much further, Black Alert, spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen the latest episode, please go and check it out before you come back to join us. Dave, let's talk about the latest episode. Can you remind us what happened in this one?
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, it's Episode 4, Face the Strange, written by Sean Cochran and directed by Lee Rhodes. Burnham, Raynor, and Stamets are caught in a time bug that has been placed by Mole and Locke, warping them back and forth between different periods of time on the Discovery. It is up to all three of them to figure out how to make this stop, and between the constant time fluctuations, avoid making any changes to their future, and they must do it quickly, as they are still racing to beat Mole and Locke to uncover the ultimate mystery.
All right. Let me start off with you, Wayne. What were your first impressions of this one?
I really liked this episode. I think so far it's my favorite because there's a lot to like in the episode. I thought the pacing, the editing, the directing of the episode was fantastic. But really, it all boils down to three things, and that's the characterizations of Burnham, Raynor, and Stamets, which this is their story, and I thought they were fantastic in this episode. It really showed how far these characters have grown since their first appearance, and we get to see a lot of different timelines and them in those timelines of Discovery. The whole production was fantastic. The way they recreated the individual timelines. That's kudos to the different departments working on this. Plus, we got to see some old characters come back. It's a great episode. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it didn't seem like anything was wasted in this one. Didn't feel like anything was out of place, and it definitely wasn't what I was expecting from last week's trailer with the creepy spider crawling all over the place. I
I'm thankful for that.
To be like
looking at you, Wayne.
Yeah, exactly. I am going to go ahead and say that I called it last week because I was saying at one point they should do a clip show, and they did the best way of doing a clip show that I've ever seen.
True. Yeah,
like they go back into all these periods, revisiting a lot of key points in Discovery, but there wasn't any. Like I said, it didn't seem like there was any kind of wasted scenes or useless exposition because they had this neat little rewind button that got set every few minutes, so there wasn't a lot of time to spend too much scenery in any one kind of time period.
This is one of those episodes that, like, once it started, it was over with before I realized it, because I was so involved in the story and what was going on and how they were going to get out of it that I completely lost track of time. And this so far is their best episode this season, without question.
Definitely agree.
Yeah, and there's so many good scenes in this episode. But I got to tell you, I might give away what I'm going to talk about at the end, but Raynor really stole the show on this one, in my opinion.
Yes.
I thought he was fantastic in this episode. But one of the scenes that I absolutely loved was Burnham getting on the turbo lift, and Linus was getting in there with her, and he turns and looks at her, and you get this awkward, like, few seconds of, like, what's going to happen here? And he goes, "You look good in red."
Right.
Yeah.
Red really is your color.
Yeah, red is really your color.
There were a lot of good, funny moments. I love the different ways Stamets used to get everybody out of engineering. Especially his last one. I'm grumpy. I That made me laugh.
Yeah.
I'd get the hell out of there too if he came in and yelled that at me.
Yeah.
That was a great callback. I like how they kind of made fun of the franchise in a way at some point when he was like, "Get out! There's a spore overload or something. You'll grow mushrooms in your lungs." And he's like, "I'm kind of worried that my team doesn't know that that's a thing."
Right.
It's kind of like just BS scientific exposition.
Yeah.
Even that first scene with Mullen Locke.
Oh, that was such a good scene.
I think the poisoned latinum was very clever. I didn't see that coming. But it gives us a little bit more of a look at the two of them who feel like they're on the run, that they've got history with the Emerald Chain. And it seemed kind of interesting that was it them who mentioned the Breen?
Yeah,
Yes.
again.
Yep.
Right. Which makes me think that maybe Locke isn't Breen. Possibly. I mean, it could be that he's still on the run from his own people, but
They definitely have connections somehow because they've mentioned it every episode so far this season. I mean, if they don't come or don't show up, I don't know what they're leading to.
Yeah.
Now, I was just going to say, I think it'd be kind of a funny Lower Decks moment if they finally do see the Breen and the Breen take off their helmet and they all look like Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
Just because it looks like the Bosch helmet from Return of the Jedi. They're just all Carrie Fisher clones. But
I do want
what are
to
you going
call
to say, Dave?
I do want to call out another really cool transition from when Mole was holding that and it transitioned into the spider scrambling.
Yes.
That was a really cool transition. They are so good at editing these episodes. I tell you what.
They are.
So good at it.
Yeah, very efficient. Yeah.
And I have to, the only nitpick I really have for this episode, and this actually made me laugh. I found this to be one of the funnier parts of this episode, is those transporters. Did Burnham and Rayner really transport into the next room to have a conversation? I mean, it's like 30 feet away. Come on now. How lazy is that? I mean, what's wrong with the door? Doesn't it work anymore? I mean,
Wayne, I literally yelled at the TV when that happened. I said, "Are you effing that lazy?
I'm like, really?"
Yeah.
And then,
it feels like
if they had not done that to go back to the bridge, they wouldn't have been in this predicament.
Right, exactly. It just seems so silly.
We finally saw those transporters backfire on them, right? Maybe stop. Otherwise, this is like 5 years before the future we see in Up with By and Large, and everybody's just these giant overgrown babies that float around in chairs and don't have any exercise whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah. It was also great to see some moments that we haven't necessarily seen before, like Discovery being built.
Oh, in the dry dock? Yeah. That was cool.
That was a cool moment, and it was well handled to say to the guy, like, "Oh, it's a surprise inspection." He's like, "Okay, well, everything's fine." So,
I did find it odd that they were building Discovery on in San Francisco. I mean, right there, and you could see the Golden Gate Bridge. I mean, I don't know exactly what was going on back then. What was it, the 23rd century? How they built ships and stuff. But it just seems odd that they would build their ships on the planet. But all right, I'll accept it.
Yeah. It's because they had to get all the mushrooms from the planet itself. Grow as many as they could in San Francisco.
There's a line in there that really made me laugh, was when Rayner and Burnham were talking, and they found themselves on the bridge when they're the Red Angel,
Yeah.
And he looks and goes, "So we're going back in time when the Discovery was going into the future? That is confusing."
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was an odd choice, but he did a good job with that. I like that we're seeing more of the Rayner and Burnham dynamic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And seeing how they play off of each other, especially that line of dialogue where he says, "But what if I'm right?" I think that's going to be very useful in the future to see how he's kind of a foil for that.
Yeah.
But still, not changing the dynamic, but just introducing an element that helps it go a little bit further than it was before.
They really helped his character grow here because remember the last episode where he just had the, give me who you are in 20 words or less. He was listening. He does know his crew because look what happens in this episode towards the end. It gets him out of the past Burnham.
Yeah.
He basically told them who they were and how he knew them, and that's how he got out of it. So he does care.
Yeah,
Because it's got that
that's
hard
exactly
shell.
what I was going to say too. I mean, there's so much character development with him. He really has learned a lot about Burnham, and
Mhm.
there's been a big change in their relationship and the way he looks at the crew. Huge step for the character.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we've got our third time traveler, Stamets.
Yep.
I thought the explanation gave me kind of a Mystery Science Theater. I should really just relax and enjoy the show.
Right.
But when they said,
A lot
"Oh,
of that.
he's outside of the time stream because of the mushrooms," and I was like, "I'll give you a pass on that because I don't understand the science well enough to say no." But
It's been a confusing science in the first place, but yeah, I'll accept that.
We will allow it.
Yeah.
Exactly. But no, he had some great moments. I loved when he met Reno at that one point, and she comes up to him and she's like, "Hey, Doctor Truffles, I need that thing that I asked for."
Yeah.
And then calls him on it and says, like, "Are you stuck in a time loop?" Nah, just kidding. You're fine.
No, just kidding. Yeah. Well, Reno's awesome in herself. I
Yeah.
love the
Yeah.
character of Reno. I know that actor plays that character a lot, but I don't care because she does it so extremely well. And anytime she's on screen, I know we're in for a treat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've liked Reno from the first episode.
Mhm.
That was an incredible episode.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
keeping those people alive the way they did.
Yep.
Absolutely amazing.
And it was nice to see the character of Ariam again. We haven't seen her
Yeah.
since her character was killed off in season 2. But I got to tell you, the way Burnham just comes out and says, "Oh, you're dead." You talk about ripping the Band-Aid off. I mean, yikes.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, she
But
kind of was stuck in a corner there. I mean, she didn't
You're
have
right.
a choice.
You're
know?
right, and that's why I don't take fault with it because she didn't have a choice. I mean, time was running out. They needed to,
Yeah.
so just spit it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that whole scene on the bridge where she was talking to everybody, like no one's wanting to believe her, and she's basically having it out saying, "Look, you got to listen to me. You have to understand. I am from the future," and going on and on. I love that entire scene.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, it's
And-
very
yeah.
clever to have that happen in the Lorca timeline, right? Because I don't think at that point they knew about the mirror universe shenanigans.
no, not at that point. No.
But considering what kind of things had happened up to that point, it makes total sense that they wouldn't just believe it at face value, right? That they would, kind of suspect it. I think it was a great use of two Burnhams.
Oh gosh.
Oh, that was a great scene.
That was brilliant.
and such
great.
a contrast between the two.
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing performance by Sonequa Martin Green in there. It was kind of a surprise, and it went from an episode where it was like, well, don't interact with your past selves or the universe will explode, kind of the temporal
Oh,
dynamics.
hell with it.
And then at one point they were like, oh, well, there's this thing, and if we go to warp, it'll be fine. So just go. It'll be
Yeah.
quicker if we don't. But the fight sequence there, I thought was great. It reminded me of T2 when you've got the two Terminators that kind of like, they're surprised at how well matched they both are.
Right.
And then just to end the whole thing with a nerve pinch. I think that was a great call.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, the character of Ariam. That's that standalone episode of Ariam's where you learn about Ariam's backstory. I think is a standout episode for Discovery, and to see that character come back and be featured in this way, and knowing that Ariam would respond to what Michael was saying in that way, is great writing. I mean, it's kind of shocking, and I'm glad that everything was wiped out because that would be a therapy session for the entire bridge crew. But yeah, really smart.
Ariam, that was a character, it was very interesting. I thought that it could have led to a really interesting character, but they never really done much with her, until the final episode. It's nice seeing her again, but it's a pity that we never got more of her to learn more about her.
Yeah, I agree. It's always very interesting about how each one of these Star Trek series always deal with some kind of time travel or anything like that. And I tell you, each one of them has a unique way of telling us, so it never gets tired. It never gets boring. because I found this once I learned that this was what was going to happen, that they're traveling through time. I'm like, well, here we go again. We've got another story about time travel. My God, how many times have they done this?
Oh,
in
it's not Star Trek without it.
Exactly.
Right.
But it was very interesting to watch it. The fact that they were always on Discovery, they were just in just different time periods with Discovery. But it was also the effect that they had when the time was getting ready to change. How that was such a cool effect that they used to signal that was happening, and how she was able to figure out how much time they had during each period. That was really well written.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciated the jump to the future as well, when it was just Zora and the nothing left on the bridge but dust, right? And getting to see, it doesn't go into specifics about what happened with the progenitor technology, but how quickly things fell apart. And how devastating that can be.
And it gave them a look of what could happen if they fail on their mission.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. And another mention of the breed.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Apparently the problem is with them getting in their hands.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of the Deep Space Nine connection we'll get with that. If it gets further beyond the Breen to Dominion or anything else.
It's clearly where we're heading, right? Because they cannot keep mentioning this and it keeps coming up if they're not going to do something about it, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the next episode will be a cave episode. That seems to be what we're missing.
Yeah.
We've done clips. We've done time travel. What else?
I'll bring that up later. You believe me, there is something else, and I'm
Oh,
going to
here
bring it
we
up.
go.
boy.
Here we
There it
go.
Well, any other favorite moments?
No, there's just so many in this episode. I did like
The whole episode.
Yeah, the whole episode. I like towards the end when they're like, "You think the crew's going to understand this?" And when she's like, "With this crew, I think they will get it as soon as we say time bug."
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was a good line. Well, let's get on to which character we felt shined the most. Dave, you want to start?
Yeah, I already gave mine away. Rayner. I feel like he truly grew in this episode as a member of Discovery, and with his relationship with Burnham. And talk about again where even though Tilly didn't think he was understanding who the crew was, or he wasn't getting to know them, he does, and he proves that in this episode. And I think that's why I picked him to be who I thought shined most in this episode.
Yeah. Wayne, what about you?
Yeah, I mentioned him too, but I agree with David. Rayner. I really do think he shined the most. This was a twofer with him and Burnham, really. And at the start, he's stubborn, he's hard-headed. He mentions that he thinks Burnham's too relaxed with her crew, and he even goes too far when he's talking to her and saying exactly what's on his mind. But he had a lot of character growth here in this episode when he realizes just how Burnham and his crew how effective they are working together, and he gets to save the day by crushing the time bug, the spider. So I love him.
Yeah. Even that scene with the Stamets when he realized what he was saying and doing, and I better back down and help. Even just that moment with those two characters right there, it showed how much Rayner has already grown.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm going to give this one to Michael Burnham.
Oh, okay.
Both of them.
That's a good one.
Because this was one where it's not Burnham leading the away mission. It's Burnham truly as the captain of the ship. I think that's something I've been wanting this season, is to see, Burnham as the crux of that, and being able to bring all different aspects of the crew together. I think there was a great moment when we've already talked about when she's on the bridge and she connects with so many different people, like when she says, Awoshkun, I don't want to get that right cross again like I just did, because it'll lay me out. Knowing how well connected Michael is, but also seeing how far Michael has come on the journey, with seeing Proto Michael, or whatever you want to say. I think the acting range there was phenomenal, because it seems like Sonequa just fell right back into character, like not a day had passed. And it really shows how far this character has come in the journey, especially with how things were handled. There's a lot more maturity that you're seeing there. And I think that was just a great spotlight for why Michael is a great captain, in my opinion.
And I got a lot of vibes from this episode and her characterization, just like I did with All Good Things and Picard. Very, very similar. You know, here we have a case of the actors playing characters 7 years later. Very, very similar, and both were very, very well done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
Well, I'm gonna guess at this one, but I want to hear it from you. If you could have been any character in this episode, who would it have been and why? Dave, you want to start?
Yeah, I'm flipping the coin on this one. I'm going with Burnham, because she gets to explore her past again, and she gets to fight herself. Come on, we all got to admit there are sometimes we all wanted to fight ourselves.
Yeah, true.
So I have to go with Burnham.
Wayne, what about you?
I'm choosing Burnham too. Because until this point, I never really realized how far her character had evolved, and for the better. She's truly taken command of the Discovery, especially after seeing the position she was in back in the first season. She was a prisoner, accused of being a traitor, involved in the death of her captain and crew on her old ship. It's really hard to believe that now she's a captain and just has come so far and has helped reform the Federation after the burn. Yep. That's a long way to come in the 5 or so years that the show has been on, and you got to be proud of an accomplishment. So I'd want to be her.
And cool. And it's funny too, and I think they chose not just for the story wise to have her meet her old self in the turbo lift like that and have that fight, but you get to see the contrast between the two characters, how much she has grown there. Yeah. Not just in look, but just in maturity.
And it's a great thing to do in its final season, a look back to see exactly how far the shows went.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Scott, what about you?
Well, I'm going to flip it too. I'm going to say Raynor.
Look at this.
So to experience this episode from his perspective, so from a professional standpoint, seeing what he knows as history, unless this has all been classified and he hasn't been through it, which I kind of doubt, he's seeing history unfold in front of him, right? Yeah. All these things that he's heard about in the past, he's experiencing it firsthand. So that's got to be a little bit of a shock to him at the moment to say, like, oh my God, I'm experiencing some pivotal moments here. Personally, it would just be interesting to understand the emotional journey he goes through of understanding more about the Discovery crew and how it works and how he can kind of fit into that dynamic. I can see him becoming more of a part of the crew and him accepting his role on the crew as much as you can see them accepting him, even though it's reluctant at times. He's really showing the value that he can bring to Discovery, and I think that's a great journey to be on. Well, how about some Easter eggs? Wayne, which ones to catch?
There wasn't too many of them in this one, but there were a couple, including one big one. One thing I want to mention is I noticed a lot of similarities to this episode to another episode of Star Trek Voyager called Shatter, where it was during its 7th season. In that episode, Commander Chakotay is also being thrown back and forth through different time periods of Voyager after they hit a time rift. Very, very similar to this, and both episodes are very well done. If you haven't seen the one, go back and watch that. Another thing I also noticed is this is the first episode to not credit Doug Jones as part of the cast. He was not listed in the main credits. He doesn't appear at all in the episode. We do hear his voice, but that was actually a clip from an earlier episode. He didn't actually record anything for this. So we have an episode where he has nothing to do, and I hope this is the only one because I like that character. I want to see more of him.
Oh yeah.
But the big and pretty much the only one that I was able to pull out of this episode deals with the time bug itself, the chronophage. They identify it as being Krenim, which means it's from the same planet as a race from the Delta Quadrant, which had mastered the ability to manipulate time, caused a lot of trouble for USS Voyager during a 2-part story called Year of Hell, which was back in Voyager's 4th season. That's another great 2-parter. And a nice callback and connection to that series. Plus, they also mentioned the Temporal War, and apparently the Krenim have a major part to play in this, which that's one of the storylines from Enterprise.
I was going to ask about the Temporal War. So that's something that was in Enterprise?
That was one of the main storylines of Enterprise. We didn't actually learn too much about it, and it was never fully resolved. They kind of left it hanging at the end there because the series was canceled, but they were leading up to something big.
Interesting. All right. Well, have we seen a trailer for next week?
We saw a clip from the episode.
Yeah, I saw a clip. The episode's called what? Mirrors, I believe
Yes.
it's called.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What do we see? I have not seen the trailer. What do we see?
So what I saw was what Book and Burnham were on a shuttle, it looked like, and they were moving through, I don't know, some kind of atmospheric mist, whatever it is.
An anomaly.
An anomaly. And they get a glimpse of Mullen Locke's ship. And
Lots
then
of debris.
lots of debris. And Burnham sees something, but then it stops right there. Like, oh, okay. Just enough to tease you.
Well,
Yeah. Interesting.
and I think I may know what's coming next after that, what she sees, because I'm going to come out and just say it right now. This is my prediction from seeing this clip. But, we had seen in the trailer that aired, that was shown right after the first episode, a really, really quick shot of the USS Enterprise. It's definitely the Enterprise because you can clearly see the 1701 if you freeze the frame. Now, those shots from the trailer, the nebula that it was coming out of matched the nebula that was in this clip, in this little sneak peek, as well as the shuttlecraft, which was in those shots as well. So we're seeing the Enterprise in the next episode. There's no doubt of it. But here's my question I'm going to throw to you both. The episode is titled Mirrors. So are we seeing the Enterprise that we are very familiar with, or are we seeing a mirror universe version of the Enterprise?
That's a good question.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
they
based
could
on
go either
that-
way.
Based on that, it feels like we might have two separate teams in the mirror universe. So if they encounter the Enterprise, but you're seeing how Michael and Booker are kind of parallels to Maul and Locke,
Yeah.
right, relationship wise, and that you might have the two of them needing to either team up or somehow deal with mirror universe. Maybe where they landed, since this episode didn't really give us any new clues necessarily. They scanned the area and nothing was there. Maybe it's that the coordinates are correct, but the universe is wrong.
Could be, and
So they'd have to cross over.
it's an interesting way to go because I mean, it's great. It'd be cool if they are visiting the mirror universe again, since that's kind of how the show started in its first season. But what an odd way to go! I would not expect that during this season. So we'll just have to wait till next week and see, or this week.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
well, I'm excited to see it based on that teaser at least. Right.
Me too.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for us. I feel like there's a lot more to say, but I think we just enjoyed it so much. I think that's all there is.
Go watch it.
Yeah.
Exactly, for sure. And
Good
it seems
episode.
like we're headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
I can safely say it feels like we're headed to the right place.
Yeah, definitely.
As always, thanks to our listeners for joining us. Hailing frequencies are always open for you to share your feedback and your thoughts and your questions on social. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. You can email us at afilmbypodcast@gmail.com. Find us online at afilmbypodcast.com. And if you're looking for exclusive content and swag, send some Latinum our way through Patreon. We'll see you next time for another episode of Phasers Set to Stun.